a Rubik's Cube challenge with a social media twist. I never had that much fun in math. Welcome to Class Acts with Kris. Real teachers, real leaders, real talk. And today's guest is Ashley Ranum, and she is the math teacher at Marshall Middle School who is doing the Rubik's Cube challenge in Janesville, Wisconsin. Welcome, Ashley. I'm really happy that you are here today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So now that we've piqued everybody's interest, tell us about the Rubik's Cube challenge.
Okay. So every year, it actually started because I had a student that challenged me to solve a Rubik's Cube while I was trying to teach them how to have the right mindset to be able to do something. And I started off by saying there was no way that I could do this. I'll just take off the stickers and move it around. And he said, "You got to change your mindset. That's what you say." And I said, "You're right, I should take my own advice." And so before I knew it, I was obsessed. My husband would have to hide them from me because I would sneak them under the dinner table. And so I grew with the Rubik's Cube a lot, and I solved it. I was excited about it. I was passionate about it. So I started challenging my students to solve one. And if each class can solve one by the end of the year, then they get a pizza party. So they get pizza, pop, cookies, and popcorn. And so I have certificates in my room, and we make it a big, huge deal. So,
very cool. What's the social media twist?
The social media twist is so we made a TikTok video, and if they could get 5,000 views, that was another way that they could earn the pizza party. So, and that was in hopes to spread the Rubik's Cube and to get other people interested as well.
How many likes do you have so far on it?
There are, I'm not sure about the likes, but I know there are.
How does that work?
The views, I guess.
I'm so old.
My students teach me. So right now there's over 5,000.
Oh.
Yes.
So isn't 5,000 they get the party?
Yes.
But they still have to work on solving.
They still have to solve them. The best part is they still want to solve them.
Oh, very cool. So if I gave you a Rubik's Cube, which P.S. I don't have one, would you be able to do it?
I would be able to. Yep.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, without taking the stickers off.
That is so great. So how long have you been a teacher? And just start with why you became a teacher.
Okay. So this is my 13th year teaching. I taught 7th grade for 9 years, and then I've been an 8th grade teacher for 4. And I started teaching mostly because I guess you could say that I've kind of been a teacher since I was 2, because any of my friends that ever played with me, they always had to learn, I was either reading them a book or, "Oh, I know what we can do, let's make a math worksheet, and you can do it, and then I'll correct it." But really, I became a teacher. I think what really, really impacted me the most was when I was in 8th grade, I got in a major car accident. And my mouth was wired shut completely. And so I would have to eat
soup and shakes.
Soup and shakes and whatnot. And we were in the lunchroom one day, and 2 of my 8th grade teachers came into the lunchroom, and over the microphone they said, "We need to find Ashley," Doomer was my name at the time, and we have a special surprise for her. And they actually took me for lunch. This would never happen these days, but on their motorcycle, of all things. Maybe that's why I also have my motorcycle license. But yeah, so they took me to Frosty Freeze, and I thought, oh my gosh, they really care about me, and here I am.
That is so
yeah. I want to
awesome.
I guess I want to make a difference like they did for me.
Absolutely. The next question literally was going to be what led you to that decision, but dang, that is so awesome. So, who were those 2 teachers?
That was Mr. Sorensen and Mr. Bruner.
Very cool. Were there any educators that, other than those 2, that influenced you?
I had a lot of teachers that influenced me. I'm trying to think. I had Mrs. Griffin Perry when I was in 7th grade, and she was a younger teacher, and I felt like she did a lot just to make sure everyone knew that she cared about us and that she was passionate about us learning. And I remember just thinking, I want to be that person for someone else. And then, as weird as it sounds, I have a teacher that I worked with for several years, and she's actually retired now, but her name is Carmen Johnson-Faries, and and I've always looked up to her, and she's always made me want to be a better teacher as well. So I never stopped learning from teachers.
That is so super cool. What do you think the biggest difference that you see as a teacher from the time that you were in school?
I think when I was in school, I felt like the teachers would a lot of times say, like for math, this is how you find the area of a triangle. It's, half base times height. And we would just do it, and we would just remember it because that's what the teacher said.
Right.
But I never understood why that's how you found the area of a triangle. And so, like when I'm teaching math now, I make sure to explain the meaning behind it so that it's more meaningful. We have a lot more lessons that are hands-on. The students are engaged and empowered in their learning. And I think it just makes them more, it's easier for them to learn.
Yeah. I want to be in your math class. What remains the same? What do you think has stayed the same over time?
So I think one of the things that stays the same is students still don't really like homework. And I guess I don't know, it depends on the class that you're in, but some classes are still like, let the teacher show you and then you practice and then we go over the homework. So that's for some classes, but a lot of the classes are just really different.
That is so awesome. Where did you go to college?
I went to UW-Whitewater for my undergrad, and then I got my master's from National Louis University.
Fantastic. How did school prepare you for teaching?
So I feel like it prepared me the most once I got into the student teaching environment, because I feel like a lot of the biggest part of teaching is classroom management, because if your kids are going crazy, there's not going to be a lot of learning going on. And I don't think you can learn that until you are actually the one, like the authoritative figure in the front of the room.
Absolutely. Was there something that most surprised you as you were student teaching?
Probably how to manage 120, 140, 150 even, like quizzes to grade and lessons to prepare and copies and meetings, and you really don't have that much time during the day. So I was a little shocked at first about how much time I had to put in outside of school. But also at the same time, when you love what you do, it doesn't feel like you're working.
That is so true. That's why this is like my favorite part.
Yeah.
So what do you wish you knew then? What do you know now? I always mix that up. What do you know now that you wished you knew when you started? Like and let's put it into even better context.
Okay.
What would you tell a student teacher? Be prepared for this.
I would say if you're going to teach middle school, make sure you have a thick shell, because if you're having a bad hair day, the students are going to tell you about it. If you, come to school and announce that you're having a baby, they're going to say, I could totally tell. And you're like, I'm still wearing my same clothes. Like, you have to really take everything with a grain of salt and really understand that middle school kids they're not fully developed yet, and so they don't understand a lot. It's like, I want them to want to do homework, but they're not always developmentally ready to understand why. So
Very, very good. What are some go-to resources for you? What do you use to get ideas and inspiration?
So I use a website called Teachers Pay Teachers a lot, and that has been a huge time saver. We're using Open Up Resources for our math curriculum, and there's a Facebook group, and it's full of teachers, and everybody collaborates, everybody helps each other.
Yeah.
You could ask a question at 2 a.m. and somebody's gonna have an answer, and it's just so helpful. And then my favorite resource is nothing to do with social media, but it's a coworker, Jill Converse. We collaborate. Not only we have to meet 1 hour a week, and we literally talk almost in between every hour. Like, how did your lesson go? Did you change anything? Like, what should we do better next year? And we're constantly communicating. And I don't know what I would do without her.
Yeah, that is really nice to have a teammate like that. Are you responsible for writing your own curriculum?
So we have standards that we have to follow, and then we have the open up resource. So we have to follow that curriculum, but we can always add in our own little twist.
Right.
If we feel like we can make it better or.
Yeah. What's your biggest challenge?
I think my biggest challenge is anyone that knows me would say that I'm really, really sympathetic. And so we obviously have a lot of kids that are going through a really hard time. And I don't want to, but I just don't know how to like leave that at the school. So a lot of times it can affect my life outside of the building because I'll come home and my husband will have to listen to me for hours, and I got to go to the grocery store at 10 o'clock, and he's like, why? And I'm like, this kid told me he hasn't eaten in 2 days, and next thing I know, I'm buying groceries, and I love to do that, but it does consume me sometimes. Like, I want to make a difference, but I have to also understand that I can't change the entire world yet.
Yeah, well, don't, trust me, you are changing the world. So it's super interesting because that's almost the next question is, so how do you address that emotional part that is connected, and when a student is having issues, whether it's emotional or physical or whatever, how do you deal with those kinds of things?
So some of my coworkers actually joke with me and they say, are you the math teacher or are you the guidance counselor? Because there's days where I'll have a line at my door for students to talk to me and they open up. And I am always honest with them. And I think that's why they talk to me. And I say, my life was not easy, growing up. So I share my stories and I let them know that I could have chosen this path with the way, some things happened, but I chose to be better. And I try to show them that if they really have the right mindset and make the right decisions, they can be successful too.
I love that. Do you have like a math club, or are you involved in any extracurricular school activities? Not that your math isn't taking enough of that, so no pressure.
Yeah. I can't think of any like outside really like extracurricular activities specifically.
Gotcha. How many students do you teach at your school?
Well, on my team, I think I have roughly 145. But I have a unique situation this year where I have one freshman math class that I teach of kids that need to be challenged. And so I also have 2 students that go to Edison, and I teach them through a telepresence. So I have a really large TV that comes in every day, and they can see me and they can talk to me, and I share my smartboard with them.
Is there any students there that are participating while they're watching?
Yep. I have
That's
24
so awesome.
students in the room, and then I have 2 students from the school across town.
See, I'd be the student that'd be like, hey, how are you guys?
Oh, they do. But I always like to say, everybody say, hi, Noah, hi, James. We try to make them feel included.
That's so perfect. I love that. Tell me like something really funny that has happened in your classroom.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I have had so many funny stories. I swear I want to write a book. That's like the things that happen to a teacher. So I guess this was not long ago. I handed out a worksheet, and on the top it said NDP, and then there was a line. And so a student raised her hand, and she's like, NDP, what does that mean? And I was like, name, date, period. And she's like, oh, that is so embarrassing. And I was like, what? And she goes, oh my God, why do you need to know when I got my period? And I was like, oh my gosh, no, I do not need to know that.
That is epic.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is so great. That is really funny. How about a time, and you've already alluded to this, and that's the part that I adore teachers for, because you have such a servant heart. Tell me about another time where you made a difference, where you felt like you made a difference in a student's life.
Okay. So I do this thing every year where I call it the Kindness Project, and it takes 2 days, and it's worth every second. If it took a week, I think I would still have to do it. Yeah. So I give everyone a sheet of paper, and it's just really quiet, and we take turns passing the paper around, and we write something positive about the student. And 2 years ago, when I started this, I will never forget this forever. There was a student, and she went up to the podium, and another student would read all of the nice things. And so she's reading it, and she's like, the class said that you are pretty, and did you know that they think you have a huge heart, and you're pretty, and it said it like 8 times, and all this wonderful stuff, and before I know it, she's hysterically bawling. And I was like telling myself, like, don't cry, hold it together. Oh my gosh, it's happening, I'm crying with her. Next thing I know, my whole group of students get up and everybody is hugging her. Cue the tears, I'm bawling, we're all hugging, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, then it gets even better. So she comes to school the next day, and I remember she had a dress on and her hair was up and she had lipstick, and she came up and she said, I've never felt prettier in my entire life. I have always thought that I was ugly, and this day changed me forever. To this day, I'm not gonna cry right now, but
I kind of feel like Oprah right now,
Yeah.
so if you do, it's okay.
yes. No, but
Because I might cry too.
Yeah. Well, I still have the message. Just this year, she sent me a picture and she said, Mrs. Ranum, I still have the sheet of all the stuff that the kids said about me. And
I love that.
it was awesome.
Oh my gosh, that
I've
is
learned a lot.
Fantastic. That is so, so great. So with that, James Lipton was an interviewer from the Inside the Actor's Studio, and I just loved his rapid fire questions that he would ask. So, so first
Oh,
thing that
gosh.
comes to your mind.
Okay.
You know, make it fun, make it lighthearted. You know, but whatever comes to your
Okay,
mind.
no pressure.
And we're gonna zero pressure.
Okay.
So, but we're gonna do it teacher style. He got a little racy. We're not gonna do that.
Okay.
So, ready?
Yep.
What's your favorite word?
Tacos?
What's your least favorite word?
No.
What is your biggest saving grace?
My family.
What sound drives you crazy in the classroom?
Tapping pencil.
What profession would you try if you couldn't teach?
Does this have to be one word?
No.
Okay. I was like, oh gosh. I would really love to be a party planner. And yeah, I would say a party planner. I love party organizing and everything.
That is excellent. Best gift ever from a student?
Oh gosh. You know, I've had a lot of gifts like, you know, Christmas ornaments and Target gift cards even and everything, but my favorite gifts are always the ones that are they come straight from the heart of a student, where they just write me a letter, because I'll always have those forever.
Absolutely. One thing you think administrators need to consider in the classroom?
I would say how much work a teacher really has to do to prepare for a lesson or to prepare for the day or the next day, and how we really have limited time during the day at times to get it all done.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. I can't thank you enough. I'm so moved by the things that you're doing as a math teacher. You know, math teachers get real bad reps, and you absolutely are blowing that out of the water. So thank you so much. If you have any questions for Ashley or about Class Acts, please comment or email us at info@nascoeducation.com. You are absolutely a class act. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Ashley.
I appreciate getting to be here.
It was so much fun.